Hey, beautifuls, welcome back to another episode of To All the Girls Out There. As always, it is a blessing to have you girls here with me. Today, we're gonna be talking about friendships and my experiences with friendships and how it has become so healing for me. And I've learned so much about myself and others in friendships. I know it's something that a lot of girls struggle with sometimes, and I just want any girl out there who is struggling with friendships or wants to make new friends or just feels like their friend isn't as fulfilling to be able to take away something from this and learn about themselves essentially. I was just doing a lot of reflection on my experience with friendships and people around me and how much I've learned and overcome over the past couple of years. I'm someone who, I know it sounds cliche, but people say it all the time, but I am someone who just used to always have such a big heart, and I struggled with friendships because I always gave and I wanted to do a lot, but I would never receive the same on the other side, and I would always end up disappointed in friendships, and it was something that used to happen all the time. I will come back and I will cry because a friend has done this to me or has done something to me, and my mom will always have to sit there and advise me and kind of like console me. And I think that's why she always became very overprotective with me and my friends, because although not everybody saw it, I would come home and get really upset about the things that they would do. I wouldn't say I was fully lonely when I was at school. I definitely had friends and I had people that I was around, and they were good friends for what I knew at the time. But now with the friends I have now, it wasn't like the deep sisterhood that I have now, where it's like I cry because I'm so grateful for. Guys, I don't know what's going on with my voice. But yeah, I remember over the course of my time with friendships, I had friends that, in secondary school, sometimes people fall out all the time. And so, sorry. And so, yeah, I just had this conditioning of like, anytime something was wrong, I would always get scared and I would always be on my toes because I just felt like I could always be doing something wrong in friendships. And anytime I did something wrong, that meant that it was about to go into a phase where we wouldn't speak or would have quote unquote beef or whatever for those 2 weeks or so. And that was kind of like the cycle of the friendships that I would have. And it was like, I just always felt like I had to be on my toes, and that went in moving forward. Yeah, I remember when I was first in like the beginning of secondary school, I used to think I was in this like messed up mindset of just thinking, oh my gosh, everybody is so wet. I don't get along with anyone. Everyone is so negative. And I was in that mindset for a very long time. It wasn't until maybe like year 8, I was like, you know what, crap, cool, maybe I don't like the people, but you know what, I'm going to actually get up and I am going to be that friend that I want to have. I'm going to be that positive person. So I just decided that, you know what, I gonna do the things that I need to do to show up as this version of myself or show up as this friend that I wanted. And so I just started being more positive essentially, and I just started spreading that energy out there and stopped trying to care about finding friends and tried to just enjoy my time at school. And I remember after I left secondary school going into sixth form, I could have not given a flying fudge cream about friends. Honestly, I had no intentions of like making new friends. It wasn't that I was closed off to it, but I just had no intention whatsoever. And funnily enough, that's when I made my close sisterhood friends that taught me so much about friendships. So much. I just made these friends that healed me, taught me what it meant to like actually be there for one another, to go out of your way to actually care about someone else. It wasn't just friendships that we chill with each other during break time and only speak about the things that are going on in our life. It was a real sisterhood of, hey, I consider you when you're not around. I'm thinking about you and I'm here for you through and through. And for that, I am so grateful. And yeah, it was just a big thing of when I stopped caring is when I found it. And I know people are so tired of hearing that, but there is a plethora of things that went into developing friendships. And for anyone out there who's just thinking it's so hard, I can't find friends, I don't have friends, or I don't have those fulfilling friendships, I know I've been there. I've gone a very long time of just constantly being disappointed, changing friendship groups, crying, feeling like I'm giving and not getting back. I've gone through it all, and I just got to a point where I almost thought friendships weren't for me. I was like, this is not for me. It's fine, I accept it. I'm probably just not gonna have someone who's got close friends. I literally did get to that point, and that's why, like, in sixth form, when I had that new beginning, I was like, I just care about my A-levels and getting my A-levels. I don't care about friends. It wasn't that I was closed off to friends, I just didn't care. And those lessons that I had learned, that taught me to then be independent, that taught me to then be okay with not having friends, allowed for so much growth now in friendships, and I'm able to let go of certain things, but there's still so much healing that I have yet to do. And yeah, I just want you guys to know that you're not alone, and it is possible for you too. I think a lot of people struggle with friendships because sometimes we are so easy to look at others. We blame others for not being a good friend, or like I said, for example, for me, I always felt like I was giving and not getting. I'm always giving and no one's putting in the same energy, and no one's doing this, or everyone just has this mindset and whatnot. And we're always looking at the external and playing the blame game. But have we ever actually sat down to look at ourselves? That friend that I want, that person that I want to have in my life, would they actually want to be friends with me? Am I the kind of friend that they would want to have around? It's a similar thinking that people say when it comes to relationships. And it's not me blaming you for not being a good friend or whatever, but it's just to say that's the thing you have control over. And sometimes we're so quick to look at the external that we don't sit there to look at ourselves. So for example, at that time when I was always like, everyone is so negative, or so this and so that, what about me internally? What changes was I making? Was I as positive as the person that I wanted to be around, that friend that I wanted to have? Am I the kind of friend that they would want to have? Do I complain a lot? If I want someone that goes out, do I like going out? What are the things that I'm doing and the way that I'm showing up? Am I showing up as a good friend too? That's another thing, because of course it's like, would you want to be the person that they want to be around? But sometimes you don't know. Like, it's so hard to sit down and think, maybe I am a crap friend. But maybe you are. Or maybe you're not even a crap friend, but you have your shortcomings and you don't acknowledge that. Look at yourself internally. How can I improve? And making sure every day that you are taking the steps to become a better person, and that ideal friend will meet you at where you are. But a lot of the time we are always playing the blame game, always blaming society, the people around us, and we're not actually sitting there to look at ourselves and working on ourselves, because that's the main thing that we can working on being the best version of ourselves that is going to attract that ideal friend that we want, making sure that we are the best friend that we can be to others as well, making sure that every time you're acknowledging your blind spots so that you can show up as a better friend to other people. And of course, there's also the obvious things like, where are you putting yourselves? I've had episodes with other guests, for example. I think there's an episode with Marisa and an episode with Miss Probert where they mention putting yourselves in positions where you're going to meet those friends. For example, if you are someone who likes sports, join a sports club. You like reading, join a book club. Ice skating, go ice skating, putting yourself in places where you can meet people and like-minded people who have the same mindset as you, or have the same interest, then you have things to connect. again, me, because I sit at home, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a homebody. So where am I expecting to meet new people? Things are gonna happen the way they are supposed to, and who knows, you could actually just step out one day and meet new friends. But again, making sure that you are making the effort on your side and surrendering. And I do believe that every relationship is gonna come to you at a specific time allocated in your story. My friends came to me at sixth form when I didn't care, after I went through so much hurt with friends, and now I'm able to appreciate it. Now I was able to learn from them and learn from my friendships because of how much I had went through from before, and I was able to let go of the friendships that didn't align with me, which would have been so much more harder had I had not gone through so many friendships before. I was used to that. I was used to the constant turnover of friends and things not working out, that now it's like I'm okay with being alone, and I have got these new friends who have taught me so much, but I also know that I will be okay with being alone. And so at moments where I have had to let go of friends, because I have had to, even though alhamdulillah every single friendship since has been amazing, there's still been friendships that I've had to let go of. And I've been able to do that with love and grace because of the things that I have done. And during this season of life, the people that I have met, the timing of Allah, the timing of God has been insane. The moment that they come in life is the moment that I'm learning something, and that specific thing that I'm learning, Allah has put them in my life during that time. And so it's so important to surrender and understand that these people are going to come in your life at the time when they're supposed to, and they're going to teach you at the time. But if you are facing loneliness or struggling with your friendships and whatnot, this is being curated for you, and this is a moment in time to learn something about yourself, because when the friendships do come, there's going to be another lesson, another story, another set of inner work that you have to deal with. But there's inner work that you can do now in this phase. And so when you do make the effort, when you do work on yourself, when you do try to show up as the best friend that you can, it's also important to then surrender, to look at this as an opportunity for growth forever and always, until that desire comes to you. When I look back, I think that there were two things that completely changed how I experienced friendships. One being my friends that healed my idea of friendships, and number two being that me understanding myself. So by number one, I mean, my friends taught me so much about friendship and being a good friend. Like I said before, in secondary school, when I had friends, the friendships weren't as deep. It was people that you have to talk about the things that are going on, and people that you chill with at break, and sometimes helping each other during downtimes and whatnot. But the friendships that I had made in sixth form were a lot deeper in terms of the small mundane things, like if we had an exam, or if we had an exam or we were doing the same subject, if I went to the printer to print a past paper for myself, I'm printing it for all of us. That was my friend's way of thinking, and that could be so small, but that healed something in me, because it was like, that wasn't what happened in my friendships in secondary school. You weren't always thinking of each other. Everyone was so loving and giving, and you'd give, if you had food, you were sharing that, and you were always thinking of each other and always putting each other down for opportunities. If my friend was at a workshop and they know that this is something that Fatima was interested, they'll mention me or mention my name and let me know that, hey, I put you down for these things. And for some people it's like, wow, yeah, this is regular. But for me it was so deep, because it was like, this isn't what my friendships were like before. These people didn't do those extra things, or where they were thinking about you when you weren't there. And it was having those moments of people being there for you, and then understanding as well. For my friends, it was like, it was a safe space to vent and be upset without having that judgment held to you moving forward. A lot of the times, friends, people, when it comes to you being down or you being a hindrance, it's always a problem. I know it can be really difficult when you're always leaning on someone during a downtime, especially when you don't want to be upset all the time. But during downtimes, my friends never, ever, ever made me feel like I was being a burden to them or I was doing too much. And I felt safe enough to be able to say those things without it coming on the other side of Fatima done this, or Fatima, she's just so irritating, and going to other people. And again, that was so healing, because for me, I just felt like there was always problems in secondary school. You always had to fear that you couldn't be too trusting, because someone was always going to go and say something. Someone was always going to twist your words. Even then, like, I can go and rant to my friends about someone and they understand where I'm coming from. They know what my intentions are. They don't try to stir it into something bigger than it is. My friend can come to me and say she's so agitated at this person, and I know what her intention is. I know I'm not going to make it bigger than it is, because I know that she's not trying crap. She's just agitated. And there was so much that in school, everything had to be drama. And I always felt like I had to walk on eggshells, because I was never safe. Anything could turn into beef. Anything could be a problem. Now I can have a disagreement with my friend and it's just a disagreement. We'll work through it, and these are things that, like I said, is healing me. Like, I had to learn that, wait, it's actually safe to speak to my friends. It's actually safe to be vulnerable with my friends. And I can go out for someone else and not think, are they going out for me? Because I know that we show up for each other when we need to. And if they're not showing up for me, then there's some things going on. Do you know what I mean? But our friendships is healing, and we care about each other. And it's not just about drama, and it's not just about having someone to go out with. It's knowing that they're there for me regardless. And it's not that when we go out and I might be struggling for money, it's not, oh my gosh, like, she's so irritating, I don't understand why she can't just There's empathy there. There's understanding for each other. And that healed me. And having those new friendships healed my understanding of what friendships is. And it taught me that, hey, not everything is beef. Not everything is walking on eggshells. It is safe to share. It is safe to be vulnerable. It is safe to go above and beyond for someone without getting hurt for it. And the second one, understanding myself, was a big thing, because it's like I was saying before about people not knowing themselves and not looking at themselves and not knowing whether they're a good friend or not, which can affect your friendships. And I think me understanding myself has changed it immensely, especially when starting my counselling course. One thing about me is, when I was in school, I remember I used to think I had all the answers. I thought I knew it all. I think, and I still think, that I'm really good at giving advice. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I know it all. And I'm not trying to control my friends and their decisions. And I think that was a shortcoming of mine. I used to always try to kind of like control, like, you must do this, like, you're silly if you don't. And I would listen to kind of respond to give them advice, and not understanding that that was a shortcoming of mine. If I didn't have the self-awareness to surrender to the fact that, hey, you don't always have it right, and sometimes your friends are not always going to listen to you, and that is okay. It's your job as a friend to still be there for them. If I wasn't able to do that in the work to understand myself, I wouldn't be able to show up as a good friend and learn and even allow my friends to heal me and and have that understanding, because I would always think that I was right, and those healing experiences would have never come through because I wasn't able to surrender to the fact that maybe I do need to make a change here. And when I understood that, I was able to show up with a lot more empathy with this counselling course that I did, learning about empathy, learning about not always giving advice, hearing the other person and allowing them to show you and think from their mind and their frame of reference helped me so much in becoming a better friend, because it was like, I'm not always trying to impose my way of life on you. Right now, you come to me because you trust me, so we're going to work together. I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to work with you. And again, I'm not nobody's therapist. I'm still your friend. So I'm going to acknowledge that I'm your friend. And of course, I'm going to come from a place of emotion, but I want to help you in the way that you want to be helped and doing what's best for you, you know? And I just felt like that was something that the course allowed me to do. It allowed me to see that side of me that was always trying to give advice and always trying to say, here's the steps, do this. And it just allowed me to be someone who took a step back and saw my friends for them and have empathy in the moment and understand them. Even though it might not be something that I would have done, I was able to look and say, hey, Fatima, in this moment, I know you want to give advice, but is that what she needs right now? Or let's try to understand her before we even go anywhere else. I would hold my tongue and make sure that I am being an understanding person and I am being a curious person, instead of being that friend that's always jumping to advice and being right. Even though more time I am right, that's not what they need all the time. And so being able to kind of like just take a step back and think, let's work together. Let me try to understand them right now in this moment so that we can work together as a friend, so that I can acknowledge someone and still show up as myself. And like, I think there was a time when I was saying it in, I don't know what it's called. There was an episode about me talking about unconditional positive regard and congruence and empathy. So I'm not going to go into it too much there, but yeah, that was life-changing. And journaling and constantly learning things about myself. So for example, like sometimes I feel like I speak too much in my friendships, and sometimes I might not listen and I might just jump straight to the answer or jump straight to saying my thing rather than giving them space to talk. And sometimes I even feel like I've reached a point where I feel like I talk too much, that I don't talk enough. And it's just in my head. And friendships are supposed to be a safe space for you to talk. But now I think I've taken on the role of always just wanting to listen and trying not to talk, that I just don't talk. And learning those things about myself. Again, like that's even more inner work that I'm doing now, which I'm going to get into more later. But there's so many different things. For example, even me, one thing I learned through my friendships was the fact that I struggle with conflict a lot. And like I said, when I was in school, a lot of my friendships, there was constant conflict. Like, you did something wrong. I had a friend who we wouldn't even speak like about any conflicts. She would be annoyed at me. She would act weird. And then I would notice that she was being weird. So we would just stop talking for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. And then the next thing you know, we would speak again. And it was like, my conditioning was just like, every time things are going to be, you know, conflict, or every time you've done something wrong. And I was just always felt like I have to be careful. And I had to learn that not all conflict is bad, not all disagreeing. It can be safe. And I had friendships where, you know, my friend would do something that annoyed me. This is a recent friendship. I love her so much. And there was a time where she did something that annoyed me, and I knew I had to speak to her about it, but I procrastinated it for so long. And it just got to a point where I just didn't speak to her for a little bit because I couldn't bring myself to have the conversation. That was because of my fear of conflict from before, from my previous friendships. And I had to learn that it's okay for me to share this. It doesn't have to result in an argument. My intention isn't for it to be a whole, you know, argument or whatnot. It's just for us, for me to share this so that we can heal, so that we can both show up as a better friend in this friendship. Eventually, I managed to get to the point where I could speak about it, right? But if I had not realized that, hey, like, Fatima, you have this fear of conflict, I wouldn't have been able to show up as a friend, and I wouldn't have been able to get up and actually notice that, hey, let me actually just address this rather than letting things go by. I wouldn't have had this healing friendship, and me being able to have that conversation and then realize, oh my gosh, it isn't conflict. It isn't like a bad thing, has healed me now in knowing that, hey, I can have a disagreement with my friends. I can be upset with them, or things can happen, but it doesn't mean that it needs to result in a fallout. And now I know that doesn't mean I'm going to actively go out of my way to always have conflict. No, it just means when these things do arise, it is safe enough to have a conversation, you know? And that is inner work that I had to deal with, and things that I still have to deal with, and teaching myself that, you know, I can communicate, and it doesn't always have to be an argument, and it isn't always a bad thing. And even that thing that I was saying of like feeling like I talk too much, and learning that, you know, maybe I've swung to the other side of the pendulum. I feel like I speak too much, but actually, maybe now I'm not speaking enough. Maybe now I'm holding back from valuable insights that my friend could have, because I feel like I'm saying too much. And it's about navigating that balance. And even for me personally, I am someone who I don't really like to speak about the things that I'm doing. Before I do them, I kind of like to just let things speak for themselves. So part of that means not telling my friends a lot of my goals, a lot of the things that I'm getting up and working towards every day. And it's not because my friends are crap, but it's because of me. But sometimes I feel like it is a hindrance to my friendships, because when I do go out with my friends, and when I am speaking to my friends, I feel like there's so much I'm holding back. And my conversations, I don't really get to speak about the things that are on my mind, because I've not told them about the things that I'm doing and the things that I'm working towards, which I know that I would have benefited way more from by saying like, hey, you know, I'm working towards this every day, and it's just really hard for me. And every day I'm just overthinking all the time. I don't get to have these conversations with my friends because it's like I've not told them about it. And it's me trying to work out that balance recently of like, do I want to speak to my friends about the things that I'm doing? Because I feel like that way I'd get so much more out of the friendship. Because right now, I don't feel like I am experiencing or getting as much out of my friendship. But that's not because of them. That's because of me. That's because I've decided not to share. But then it's like, I don't want to share the things. I don't like to talk. I just want my results to speak for themselves. But that's what your friends are there for, right? So yeah, that is the inner work that I'm doing right now. And that's to say, like, it's an ongoing journey. I'm not perfect, but alhamdulillah for where I've got. And yeah, those are the things that I'm working on now. So now with friendships, because my friends have taught me so much, and because of the course that I've gone through with, and the turmoil that I've gone through with friendships, I am a lot better, alhamdulillah, with picking out people in my life, friendships in my life. And how I choose my friends now is I allow people to show me who they are. I allow them to show up as themselves, and I make my judgment from there. Not everyone will be perfect. Not everyone will have it all. But when you allow people to show themselves, when you allow them to show who they are, then it's from there that you can make your judgments and you can work it out. And that's why it's also so important to understand yourself and understand how you work too, because that makes it easier to decide whether you and this person will work together as a friendship and are compatible. And you have to think about you and you as a friend and how you show up as a friend, and will you complement each other? So for example, I know that I am an empathetic friend. I know that I'm an understanding friend and someone who likes to go all out for people. And I treat my friends like genuine sisterhood and friendships. Like, if you are down, I got you until you get back up. Like, that is me. And so for someone else who doesn't think like that, for someone who might be a bit more, who might have more of an individualistic kind of mindset, who is like every person for themselves, if you're down, why should I have to help you? I've worked hard for my money, or I've worked hard to do this. We might not align. That's not me saying that you are a bad person, but I know that for me, I am that kind of person. That's how I go out for my friends. So if you then did that to me, I'm going to be upset, because I know that I'm a person who does that for my friendships, and I'm not going to feel like I'm being loved in the way that I want to be. So making sure that you understand you as a friend and how you turn up for people and how you show up for people. Because if someone else isn't aligning with you as a friend and you as a person, that doesn't mean that they're a crap person. It just means that them being a close friend to you is probably not going to work. And I think that's probably why I struggled with a lot of my friendships before, because it was like, how we showed up for friends was different. And some people just want a good time friend. Some people don't want to take responsibility or care for their friends. They just want someone that's there, someone to go out with, someone to talk to. But it's not like, I got you type thing. And again, I'm not saying you're a crap person for that. I'm just saying I can't be close with someone like that, because that's not me as a friend, right? And so understanding, how do they show up? How do they think? And when you understand yourselves and you allow them to show you them, now it's time for you to think, okay, how are we going to work together? Is this someone that I think I can be a good friend with? And you might get along with them in another area, but you have to look at their strong values and how they turn up. There's some people that I get along with, but their fundamental values and the way that they think and how they operate, I'm like, this is not going to work for me. I know it. I already know it. So I'm cool with you. I can have fun with you and whatever, but I don't see you as a close friend. You're not someone that I'm going to go to, and you're not someone that I'm going to 100% like go all out for, like a sister, like a close friend of mine, because I'm going to get hurt doing it. I already know that. And that's what and I feel like taking those precautions is what's going to help you moving forward in your friendships. And that's not to say that you can't make that judgment, and then the people that you have believed that you were aligned with aren't going to go and then do the same, go and then, I don't know, backstab or hurt you. It is possible that that's going to happen, but at least you've made that judgment. You know that you've done what you can. After that, then it was a lesson that needed to be learned. That's all. But making sure that you take the steps to understand someone else and understand yourself. Ding, ding, ding. Are we compatible? Will we work as a friendship? Think about how you feel when you're around that person. Do you feel good? Do you feel better as a person? I had friendships where, for example, like I would be around people and I'm like, okay, there was once upon a time where you were a kind of person that I wanted to have around. But then when I'm around this person, they bring out a side of me, or around these set of people, they'll bring out a side of me that I didn't want to be brought out. They might bring out a mean version of me, or a version of me that complains all the time. And it's like, I might enjoy your company, but I don't like how I feel around you. I don't like how I show up around you. And pay attention to that. If they're bringing out a side of you that you don't like, again, they're not someone that you want to be close to. They're not someone that you want in your immediate circle, because they will leave a stain on you. They will leave a stench on you, believe it or not. And your company says a lot. Being very, I don't want to say strict, but strict essentially about your friends and the people that you allow in your life will absolutely change your life, because it has absolutely changed mine. And being able to say, hey, this is what I want from a friendship. This is what I know I require, and I know what I give within a friendship has changed my life, because it protects your peace and it protects your energy, and it gives you energy to put into things that really matter, not always stressing about drama, nonsense, this happening, that happening, you know. And once I was clear with what I wanted and what I didn't want, God was clear with anyone that entered my life. I made the tiniest, smallest effort, I promise you, I kid you not, after I got strict with the people in my life, anyone who came into my life and stressed me out, if I didn't deal with them, God deal with them. No one gets longer than about 3 months. Let's say 3 months max. And 3 months might seem like a long time, but sometimes you don't even see it. You get 3 months max of stressing me out. After that, God will remove you. Because I know that I do what I can to make the decision to make sure that I don't have people who stress me out. Sometimes I'm not going to see it. I can't see everything, but I trust that God will remove the people in my life that need to be removed when they will. And trust me, He has done it for me multiple times. And that's not even to say that people are bad or they're evil. It just means that this person has been draining my energy, or they're not going to take me to where I need to go moving forward. And unfortunately, they had to go. But it's fortunate in the end, because they were taking my energy in a way that sometimes you don't even realize until when you're looking back in hindsight, like, oh my gosh, now that I have so much of this energy, I didn't realize that at this time, this person or these set of people weren't actually serving me. And the thing is I feel like a lot of people do underestimate, or a lot of people kind of get confused when we talk about being strict. People think it's no BS, no mistakes, cut anyone off at the first fault, only be friends with people who are ambitious. And, you see a lot of this content online and all these expectations. And yes, I do understand, but people also need to remember that humans are humans. No one's going to get it right all the time. People are at fault. I'm at fault sometimes. You're at fault sometimes. You're not perfect. People will get it wrong. It's not about not leaving room for growth. It's not about cutting everyone and expecting perfection. You trust your discernment and you make a decision based on what you know about yourself and based on what the other person has shown you. It's not about, hey, you've crossed this boundary once. Oh my gosh, you're gone. You're out of the door. Like, people are going to make mistakes, and it's really important to leave room for that. It's just about also understanding yourself and understanding what works for you. There are going to be things that it's like, oh, you know what, this annoyed me, but we can work through it. And especially if you've gone through so much as a friendship, if you want to work through it, you can sit there and you can try to work through it. Not everything can be worked through. I am aware of that. But when people do make mistakes, it's important for you to sit down and understand, can I actually deal with this mistake, and can we work through it? Can we speak it out? Or is this something that's generally not going to work for me? And just being strong in knowing what works for you. Don't go into a friendship for the sake of having a friendship, for the sake of having friends. Understand you. What things hurt you when you're in a friendship? What things make you feel loved when you're in a friendship? And so when you're sitting in one, you're not just sitting in one for the sake of it. You are protecting your energy. And it's only about being specific in terms of you, not in terms of trying to look like you're strict, trying to look like you must be a perfect person to be in my life, because no one is perfect, and you will miss out on beautiful and healing friendships that way, just by trying to be so closed off to people, by thinking, oh, you operate here and you do this with this person, and now that means I don't want to be with you. Remember, some people might chill with crap people, and you meet them and they're a complete different person, and like you see another side of them and they help you in a different way. And it's important that that's what I'm saying about you understanding yourself and not just trying to close someone off at the fact that, oh, I'm strict. Oh, I don't chill around people who don't make £10,000 a month. Like, yes, I understand you do want to surround yourself with good people, but people can benefit you in different ways. And it's not just about ambition. All of my friends are ambitious. I would say I have some friends that are more ambitious than others, but a lot of the time I will sit here and think, oh, I can only speak to people who are driven, who are that. And yes, that is important, but there's so many friends that I have that teach me different things and are healing me in different ways that is not only about a specific part or about success or about something. There's different things that you can learn from people. And so opening your mind and being understanding of yourself and the inner work that you're doing to understand that this person, what could they actually be teaching me? Not just about success or waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning or being productive. There's other things that other people can teach you. And I have friendships in my life where people are offering me so many different things, and I'm so grateful for it. But I understand why people say that. But you will miss out on a lot of friendships because people have so many different things to offer, and it's not just about what they've achieved. And so make sure you open your mind to different things that they could be teaching you, whether it's people's sense of humor, whether it's their ability to just... Sometimes we need people who just wing it. You might be a type A person, but you can learn from a type B person, and they can learn from you, vice versa. Sometimes you need that balance. Someone who might be a bit more outgoing if you're shy, someone who might be shy if you're a bit more outgoing. There's different things that you can learn from people and you can take from people, and that helps you to show up as a better person yourself because you're learning from them. But if you're so closed off, you would never be able to reap from those opportunities because you're so busy on, this is not going to work for me, this is not going to work for me, this is not going to... I know I say that you must, what's the word? Be strict and understand your foundations and your values. Of course, those are core foundations and values that you need to understand. Yeah, this might not work for me, but at the same time, be curious, allow people to show you who they are, allow yourself to learn from people and make your decision from there. You might think, oh, I'm learning from this person, but at the same time, I don't like this trait, so I'm going to have to keep them a bit distant, and that's fine. And that's me going to say that understanding friendships is you have different people for different things. People always are so quick to say, cut this person off. And I think everyone has their own authentic flair. Everyone has their superpower, right? And you're going to have friends that are better at some things than about others. You might have a friend that's there for you when you need them. You call them, you know that they're there, but they might be someone that runs their mouth every 2 seconds. I'm not excusing that behavior. I don't like that. I really don't. I don't like people anyway. But my point is that you know when you need them. You know what they're a good friend for. So you might have friends that you have for good time friends, and those are friends that you have for going out, but they're not necessarily friends that you'll go to when you're feeling down and, upset about something. Or you have friends that you might share a certain interest in something else, but you don't share an interest in another thing. So for example, you might have a friend that's a different religion to you. When you're going, for example, I'm Muslim, so if I'm going to the mosque and stuff, I'm not going to go with my Jewish friend to the mosque because it's like, we're not going to share that common ground in that area. So you knowing that you have different people for different things helps you so much better when you understand people and you understand their strengths, because you don't have certain expectations of them. If I know someone is going to run their mouth, I'm just not going to speak to them about a certain thing because I know that that's how you operate, and I won't be disappointed if you do go and run your mouth because it's like, I know that that's you and I'm going to adapt my way to you. But that being said, for the people that I have to filter out a lot, I like to keep them on an outer layer of my friendship. And I think of your friendships. I don't know if it was an episode of Alexis, like a video of Alexis. I'll put her out in the description, but she uses an onion analogy, I think. And it's like, think of the core of the onion, the middle of the onion as your close-knit friendship group. And you get to place people and different layers of the onion, right? So there's some friends that might be close. They might be on just outside the core of the onion. So they're close to you, but they're still not extremely close, they're not your sisters. Or you might have people who are like acquaintances who are completely on the outside of the onion, that outer layer, where it's like, yeah, we're cool. I might speak to you every now and again. I might say hi and bye when I see you on the street, but I know where you lie in my life. And having that and understanding where people sit in your life as well will help you, because you don't have high expectation. If I know that that is where you sit in my life, why would I be upset at the fact that, you weren't there for me when I was going through that downtime? Because that wasn't my expectation of you in the first place, because this is where you sit in my onion, and understanding that people have different places in your life. Not everyone needs to be a super duper close friend, and that's fine. And so what I'm saying is when you have these friends where it's like, I have a friend for this, I have a friend for this, I have a friend for that, usually the friends that are a lot more filtered down are on a further outside layer of my onion, whereas you would find that the core, those that are in the core of my onion around me and are a lot closer to me, aren't as filtered down. They're friends that I can use as an all-round thing, like around across all areas. Of course, again, everyone has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses, and there will still be certain friends that I prefer to go to for certain things than others. Yes, but at the same time, they're usually all-rounder friends that I can do a lot with. And the ones that are more filtered down are usually on a more outside level. Not everyone needs access to every part of you. And understanding people and understanding their traits, understanding yourself is going to help you a lot better in friendships, rather than having the utmost highest expectations of everyone around you, because not everyone around you has the same relationship with you as to others, So I just prompt you guys to reflect on that and to just think about your friendships and think about where you're showing up as a friend and the things that you can change and the things that you can do, and learn about yourself to show up as a better person, to show up as a better friend, and a couple of questions that I have here. So I'm going to give you guys 2 in this episode, and then head to the show notes for this episode, and then all 4 questions will show up there if you want to do all 4. So the first question I urge you to reflect on, whether you want to journal, write it down, say it out loud, record it, is how do I currently show up as a friend? And am I the kind of friend my ideal friend would want? Sit down with that. It's not an easy thing to admit. No one's really sitting down here thinking like, maybe not. I think I'm an elite friend. I think I'm a sick friend. But there's always improvement. There's always ways that I could show up better. But sit there and reflect on that. And then the second one is, what friendship wound might I still be carrying that's affecting how I show up today? There might be things that have happened in your previous friendships that is affecting how you show up right now, and you don't know it because it's lived with you for so long. It's happened to me with my fear of conflict that I'm still learning to battle now. And until you realize it, you can't really change it. So please sit with it and have a think. But my life and my experience changed when I learned a lot about myself and I surrendered to the outcome. I decided to work on myself and I let go of what was going to happen in terms of friendships. And as a result, I ended up having the most amazing friendships, and I learned more about friendships and I learned more about myself. And it's just a cycle, your friends teach you about yourself, you learn about yourself, you become a better friends, then your friends become a better friends, then they teach you about yourself, and it keeps going and it keeps repeating, and I'm so grateful for it. And the thing I want to point out is my desire for friendships didn't go away. It wasn't that I woke up and I decided, hey, I don't want friends. I still wanted friends. It just wasn't a fat priority of mine, and it wasn't an outcome I was trying to force. I decided to work on myself and work on becoming the best friend that I could have. And it allowed me to even become more you see, when I say like, talking about becoming strict with your friendships and being picky with your friends and stuff like that, when you have healing friendships, when I found my friends, because they set my expectations so high, set my expectations way too high. Anyway, now it's like, well, why would I ever want to go back? Why would I go backwards? I know what a friendship can look like, of friends that go all out for you, friends that think about you, friends that consider you, that are there when you're down, a genuine sisterhood of I got you, like when you're down. And from them showing me that, why would I then now settle for a friend that's like, oh, what? Well, you're not my business. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to look after you. Da, da, da. I'm not going to do that, because my friends have showed me otherwise. And I've been open my eyes to the fact that there's better friendships out there for me. And then on top of that, doing the inner work and having the understanding of myself and understanding of how I show up as a friend, and knowing me and knowing my values of a friendship and the kind of friend I am, has also helped me to at least be, be picky and be understanding with my friendships. No, be picky with my friendships, because I'm like, I know the kind of friend I am. I know what I offer, and I know how I can make another person feel. And if you're not gonna bring anything to me, if you're gonna make me feel crap and I'm gonna make you feel good, and I'm gonna bring something valuable to a friendship, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna waste my energy on something when I feel like I'm gonna be just distributing love that I'm not gonna get back, or I'm just gonna end up feeling down because I'm giving, and I'm not getting, and my cup is not being filled. Not saying everything I do is always transactional. It's not that, oh, I give my friend a gift, now she has to give me a gift back. No, but it's about knowing that that love is there, and that love is being shared and distributed. It might not be distributed in the same way, but it's going both ways. And because I know what it is that I do and how I can make a friend feel, I'm like, nah, if you're not going to show up for me, then, or show up in a way that's going to make me feel loved, then I would rather save myself from it, because I'm also taking away from giving to people who actually do deserve it, you know? And so it is important to just reflect and make sure you're doing the inner work to become a better friend. And when you know that, hey, every day I get up and I work towards becoming a better person, and I surrender to my blind spots, I allow myself to learn, that's a beautiful thing, you know, when you know the kind of friend that you are. And yeah, so my biggest thing is learn about yourself, be curious about yourself, understand yourself, and surrender to the outcome, surrender to the story. And every single season, there's something that you can learn from. So keep learning and know that your time will come, inshallah. And yeah, my throat is so dry and I spoke a lot. There was no scenario this episode, but I hope that you guys took from it and something will change within your friendships, inshallah. Thank you guys for everything. We'll see you next time. Mwah. Love you.